All right, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to debunk the absolute biggest myth out there about leveling up your IT support career. Look, if you're a frontline tech looking up that ladder, kind of wondering how to make the leap to senior engineer, you probably think the secret is just, memorizing more acronyms, or maybe mastering some completely obscure operating system. But honestly, the truth is so much deeper than that. So, what actually separates an L1 tech from a senior engineer? It's the million-dollar question that plagues help desks everywhere. I mean, it's easy to assume becoming a senior engineer is just about accumulating more technical trivia, like knowing exactly which weird registry key to tweak, totally from memory. But it's really not about how many random facts you can hold in your head. Not at all. Check out this concept derived from ITIL standards and industry career matrices. They say what separates these tiers isn't just skill level, but the nature of problems each addresses. I had a senior colleague tell me once, and this really stuck with me, that the real evolution of your career is moving from reactive, known issues to proactive, completely unprecedented challenges. You're basically shifting your entire relationship with the problems you face every single day. Okay, so here's the exact ladder we're going to climb today. First, level 1, triage and frontline. Second, level 2, investigation and escalation. Third, level 3, architecture and automation. Then we'll walk through a real-world scenario of a payment system outage, and finally, wrap up with where you currently stand. Let's get into it. Starting right at the foundation, level 1, triage and frontline. At level 1, you're the frontline troubleshooter. You handle the common, well-defined issues using established runbooks, and your massive goal here is high first contact resolution. You're the crucial bridge between users who just want their stuff to work and the deeper technical organization. Basically, when an executive is locked out of their account 2 minutes before a huge presentation, you're the hero who gets them back in under 90 seconds. And your core skills at this tier, they're really not about writing custom code. They're all about incredibly methodical triage. We're talking Active Directory fundamentals, knowing your way around Windows and Mac, and having enough basic HTTP knowledge to grasp how web traffic actually flows. But, and this is a big but, arguably your absolute most important skill is clear, jargon-free communication. You spend so much time translating geek speak for people who, let's be honest, might literally think the cloud involves actual weather. You're calming folks down and documenting things perfectly to rule out the obvious stuff, like bad Wi-Fi or user error. This right here is basically your daily habitat. An ITSM dashboard, like ServiceNow or Zendesk. You'll see a ticket, like user account locked. And your action is to verify the user, reset the AD password, and update the ticket. You're following those detailed step-by-step procedures, the runbooks, to get people back to work fast. You aren't inventing new solutions at L1, you're executing proven solutions flawlessly. But what happens when the runbook doesn't have the answer? Well, that brings us to level 2, investigation and escalation. So level 2 is where troubleshooting goes completely off script. The runbook, out the window. This tier is all about deep technical investigation. To really thrive here, you've got to know log analysis using tools like Grafana or Loki. You need to handle API debugging with Postman or browser dev tools. You're running basic SQL queries and diving into complex network diagnostics to figure out why an app just crashed for 50 people at once. It's way less, have you tried turning it off and on again, and much more, okay, let's find out exactly why it turned off in the first place. Notice the total shift in your toolset here. Instead of just waiting on a ticketing dashboard, you're deep in observability tools. You're hunting for that bright red latency spike in a Grafana log, or spotting a server throwing a 500 API connection timeout error on server node 04. You're literally looking at the raw heartbeat of the system to find the pattern pointing to the root cause. And you're constantly in browser developer tools too. You might pop open the console and see a glaring 403 forbidden error. This lets you methodically rule out local network issues and isolate exactly where a specific integration is breaking down. At L2, you are, for all intents and purposes, a digital detective. Which leads us to the next big jump. Level 3, architecture and automation. Okay, level 3 support. This is where you become the subject matter expert, tackling complex escalations through root cause analysis, code modifications, and infrastructure redesign. As an L3 or senior engineer, you are literally the last line of internal defense. When level 2 hits a wall, it lands right on your desk. You're dealing with unprecedented challenges that demand code-level intervention. You're no longer just solving problems, you're fundamentally a problem preventer. For this to work, your skills have to scale up massively. You're doing heavy scripting and automation using Python, Bash, or PowerShell. Your SQL evolves from simple select statements to crazy advanced stuff like window functions and CTEs to optimize performance. You're running deep root cause analysis, and this is absolutely key. You are the one actually authoring and redesigning the runbooks that the Level 1 team uses every day. So your screen at L3, it's going to look a lot like this, a code editor. You're writing proactive bash scripts to listen for a timeout error in the system logs and then automatically restart the API service. And the best part? It does all this before a single user even realizes there was a glitch. That is the absolute magic of automation. To see how all these tiers flow together, let's look at Section 4, Scenario, Payment System Outage. Imagine this timeline during a live critical incident. Minute 0, the system crashes, panic sets in, and tickets flood the queue. L1 instantly jumps in, rules out user connectivity issues, and escalates it with perfect documentation. Boom. By minute 15, L2 takes over, queries the logs, and spots a massive API error. Then, minute 45, L3 steps in, does the root cause analysis, debugs the code, and deploys an emergency hotfix. I love this breakdown because it brilliantly illustrates how the exact same system error gets handled completely differently based on your tier. L1 is in Zendesk verifying the basics. L2 is deep in Grafana and SQL, finding the locked database row. And L3? They're in their code editor in AWS, totally rewriting the API integration logic so the database never locks up again. Every single tier absolutely relies on the tier before it doing their job perfectly. Ultimately, moving from L1 to L3 is a fundamental mindset shift. You're going from reactive patching, just fixing the immediate symptom right in front of you, all the way to proactive, automated problem elimination, literally rewriting the architecture so that symptom can't even exist anymore. So, moving on to Section 5, where do you stand? If you want to move up that ladder, the roadmap is pretty clear. Step 1, master first contact resolution and communication. Just nail the basics. Step 2, learn log analysis and essential SQL so you can investigate. Step 3, start automating those really repetitive tasks with Python or Bash. And Step 4, shift your focus to deep architecture and system redesign. Start looking at the whole machine, not just the broken cog. Take a second and ask yourself these self-assessment questions right now. Do you follow runbooks, or are you the one writing them? Are you just fixing the symptoms the user reports, or are you actually digging into the logs for the root causes? Are you manually resetting passwords every single day, or have you written a script that completely automates the process? Be honest with yourself here. And hey, before anyone thinks L1 isn't vital, look at this number, 67. Industry research shows an effective frontline resolves 67% of tickets immediately. That is exactly what frees up senior engineers to actually focus on those massive architectural redesigns. If L1 doesn't do triage perfectly, L3 just drowns in basic requests, and all innovation completely stops. Every tier matters. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative question to take away from this explainer today. Look at the work you did this past week. Are you just solving problems, or are you actually designing systems that prevent them from happening in the first place? Because the day you stop fighting fires and start fireproofing the building, well, that's the day you truly become a senior engineer. Thanks for joining me, and keep leveling up.